The key to understanding low vitamin D is magnesium. Most of the clients that I work with think that they are chronically low in vitamin D, and the issue being that there is no clinical benefit to vitamin D being above 20. Why is the narrative that we need way more vitamin D than we actually do? In 2010, the levels for vitamin D drastically increased. They originally were 13, and then they skyrocketed up. Now, why would this be the case? I was speaking to one of the doctors that I mentor, and she told me to look at the time frame that doctors were allowed to begin prescribing vitamin D, because there was a similar pattern that had happened for statins. And see, what happened with high cholesterol was the ranges were changed, and then 3 years later, now these medications were able to be prescribed. Well, if you look at vitamin D, surprise, surprise, 3 years after the ranges were changed, then these were able to be prescribed. One of the very many issues with consuming vitamin D supplements when it isn't naturally occurring, so when I'm talking about vitamin D supplements, I am talking about it coming from a bottle and it not coming from something that is whole food or naturally occurring, like 1, the sun, or 2, something like cod liver oil or foods that have vitamin D and vitamin A naturally occurring together. But it suppresses potassium. So there are some really common symptoms that I'll find from my clients, and that is that they have histamine intolerances, that they are very sensitive to a whole host of different things, and there is a really big connection that I've seen with potassium being suppressed with that. I also see things like poor blood circulation. We need it for our sodium-potassium pumps. A second issue being that vitamin A and vitamin D, they share the same receptor site. So when we consume things that are synthetic, like either synthetic vitamin A or synthetic vitamin D, then you can bet your bottom dollar that the absorption process is not happening optimally. And that is an issue because when it comes to how iron moves, we need vitamin A. When we consume whole foods that have vitamin A and vitamin D naturally occurring, then that is going to be at a 10-to-1 ratio. So vitamin A is going to be 10 times greater than that of vitamin D. And why would Mother Nature make things that way if that was not something that we needed? It doesn't make any sense. When we live in northern areas, because that seems to be the common theme, that people think that because they're in these northern climates that they need way more vitamin D, it simply doesn't make any sense to me, because people have lived for a very long time without vitamin D supplements. So I can't wrap my head around why this vitamin D narrative makes sense. Except when I think about that it's not actually low and that the ranges are not what is actually for optimal health. Now, when I started off this video, I was talking about how vitamin D lower than 21 is an indicator that we need more magnesium. So why am I saying that? And that is because there are enzymes that run the body, and they largely depend on copper. Copper and magnesium are 2 really key minerals in order to activate a whole host of different enzymes in the body. And why that's important is because magnesium is needed in order for this conversion process to happen. Most of the time, it is your storage form of vitamin D that is being tested, not the active form. And the significance of that is that your storage form that's being measured is like telling how much toilet paper you have on stock during the vid. Remember the madness of people going out and buying a surplus of toilet paper? Well, that is like what your vitamin D is like. We don't need a huge room full of all of this toilet paper because it doesn't help you at all when you actually go to the bathroom. You need to have a balance. And so when we're looking at vitamin D, magnesium is basically the person that goes down to the storage room, brings it up, and puts it where it needs to be in the respective bathrooms. If we don't have enough magnesium in order to take the storage form to the active form, that's where we can run into issues. And so that's why I'm saying that below 21 is typically a magnesium issue. There's a whole bunch of different ways that you can increase your magnesium. Topical is an amazing way to make it happen. I just helped formulate a topical lotion called Mineral Mule, and it has magnesium, beef tallow, and copper in it. It's amazing. I'm a little biased, but it's amazing. And that can be a really great way, instead of feeling like you have to consume a whole bunch of supplements every single day to increase your magnesium. Another really important thing is focusing on how iron moves. because when iron is dysregulated, then what can happen is we can burn through a bunch of magnesium. We lose magnesium under stress, and a lack of iron's movement is really stressful on the body. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, I want you to go watch some of my other videos because I talk all about iron's movement. So if you are looking to improve your vitamin D, then making sure that your iron is moving effectively and that you have adequate magnesium in order for that conversion process to happen is very, very important.